Hi dear friends and subscribers, welcome to this favorite show of yours, the Cricket Happening Show today with your host Ram. Well, on this cricket show we are going to look at the second day's play in the second and final test match which is happening at Port Elizabeth, where South Africa today put up a mountains of runs and applied the declaration at 525 for 8 wickets declared, and then New Zealand were put under the pump. In fact, they just went something better, I would say, because the other day, as you know, they were all out for 45 in the first test. But today, at stumps, they were placed at a very, very precarious position at 47 for 6. You can just imagine a score in a test match when New Zealand are 47 for 6 at stumps on day 2. Just talking about the day's proceedings, as far as South Africa were concerned, they started off with Faf du Plessis. And Hashim Amla was an early victim today, so that was something that was the good thing to happen for New Zealand earlier on in the day, when Hashim Amla was a victim, as he was caught behind the bowling of Bolt for 110 of 8 fours. That would have been a great relief, because if Hashim Amla would have stayed, one does not know what would have Amla done, but probably it would have so happened that Faf du Plessis and Dean Elgar might not have got a chance to make centuries. And Faf du Plessis, well, let me tell you, he played superbly. He really was watchful in the initial stages, slowly got into gear, and he contributed handsome 137 runs with 14 fours and 2 sixes. That shows the confidence of Faf du Plessis, how he's really growing in confidence. If we saw what he did in Australia, he came there, and this was a ton. This is his second ton, probably in 3 or 4 matches. And today, doing it in front of a home crowd would have been absolutely pleasing for Faf du Plessis. So Faf du Plessis went on to make 137. In fact, after Hashim Amla was out with the score on 336, this score swelled to very giant proportions due to the stand for the 6th wicket between Faf du Plessis, who contributed 137, and Dean Elgar. As you know, he had a golden duck on debut, as you know, in the previous test, and he was really struggling. Well, in this particular match, he was struggling, but slowly got into his element and had a maiden ton to his credit. In fact, Graeme Smith, the South African captain, was just waiting for Dean Elgar to get to a century, and as soon as he did that, he applied the declaration. In fact, Dean Elgar had a maiden ton to his credit. This was his first ton in one day in test matches. You know, he's only playing his, I think, second or third test match. He had a contribution of 103 not out with 14 fours and 1 6. He was a bit really dicey outside the off stump. He was really a bit shaky there, but slowly got over it and slowly started playing some strokes. And one is told that Dean Elgar has a very good technique, because that's what the news is coming in from South Africa, that Dean Elgar is a very perfectly technically equipped person, but he was really going through some really rough times, I would say, but finally has got over it, and that would have really boosted his confidence. In fact, the South African captain Graeme Smith also waited for Dean Elgar to complete a century before applying the declaration at 525 for 8. As I said, Faf du Plessis, well, you know what strokes he can play, and well, now I think what's happening for South Africa is Faf du Plessis has strengthened that middle order in such a fashion. It's looking absolutely powerful, and look at the amount of runs this partnership contributed. In fact, they took the score from 336 for 5 to 467. So that gives you an idea of 231 runs were added between Faf du Plessis and Dean Elgar, and the New Zealand bowlers were really, you know, put on a real, I would say, real mission as to disturb this pair. And finally they did, when they got rid of Faf du Plessis, when Colin Munro actually got his maiden test wicket, as he had him caught by McCullum for 137, 14 fours and 2 sixes. Elgar, as I said, finished with unbeaten 103, and Peterson also became a victim of Munro. So Munro got 2 wickets in his first test. He was out for 8, and Dale Steyn was out for 5 to the bowling of Bracewell. Cleanfield was not out on 7, and South Africa applied the declaration at 525 for 8. Look at the bowling figures, doesn't make any good reading. Trent bowled 32 overs, 5 maidens, 108 runs and 1 wicket, toiled hard. Bracewell, I thought, was the most impressive of the bowlers, because what he did was he was generating a lot of pace, he was generating a lot of bounce on the pitch, and we know what he did yesterday by hitting Graham Smith, and today too he hit Faf du Plessis on his body. And Doug Bracewell's figures were very, very impressive, and that is something I think that would be a real positive to take out of this particular bowling from Doug Bracewell. In fact, 34 overs, 6 maidens, 94 runs and 3 wickets to his name. Neil Wagner, 33 overs, 4 maidens, 135 runs and 1 wicket. Jitan Patel, the spinner, 36.5 overs, 2 maidens, 134 runs and 1 wicket. Colin Munro, on his debut, bowled splendidly. I thought 18 overs, 4 maidens, 40 runs and 2 wickets. And 525 for 8 declared. That was the final score for South Africa. The New Zealand openers walked in. Martin Guptill, once again, really being, as you know, he has been really struggling. If you see his scores, probably 4 to 5 matches, he has been a total failure. And today too, the similar thing happened. In fact, the breakthrough was given by Dale Steyn as Guptill edged to Peterson of the bowling of Steyn for 1. So that was the first wicket to go, and New Zealand were 2 for 1 at the stage. And the next to go was Kane Williamson. Now Kane Williamson was caught by Graham Smith of the bowling of Dale Steyn. That was a good delivery from Dale Steyn, and he was gone for 4. That made it 8 for 2. After that, Dean Brownlee, who made a century in the first test, couldn't really. In fact, he got a brute of a delivery from Clean Wild, which really lifted on him and also straightened after pitching. And all Dean Brownlee could do was get an edge onto it, and De Villiers took the catch, and he was gone. Caught De Villiers bowled Clean Wild for 10, which made the score 27 for 3. Daniel Flynn followed him to the pavilion, with Clean Wild actually getting him LBW for a blob, and that made it 27 for 4. And then the captain himself, Brendan McCullum, trying to stay there, trying to really block the deliveries, but this was the time when the score was reading 27 for 4, and the spinners went to operation. And from 27 for 4, the score with the score on 39, Robin Peterson, the spinner, started coming in and taking wickets. In fact, he took 2 in 2 balls. First, he had the wicket of the captain, very important wicket of Brendan McCullum, caught by Callis of the bowling of Peterson for 13 with 2 fours. And the very next ball, Colin Munro making his debut, the very first ball he faced in Test cricket, he was gone as he was caught by Elgar, bowled by Peterson for a duck, which made the score look a very shabby 39 for 6. And later on, it was the New Zealand batsman Brian Watling playing from the safety of his crease. In fact, he was not out on 15, but he had 3 fours to his credit in his 15, just playing for safety of stumps, I would say, with Doug Bracewell not out on 3. They finished at 47 for 6 at stumps. I think New Zealand have a long way to go. Now, the first thing for them will be the mark of 325. Looking at it, it looks very unlikely that New Zealand would even reach 325. Probably that is absolutely not on the cards, and I think New Zealand are in for a real I would say pounding by the South Africans. But what would be good to see, even though New Zealand probably they would at least try to get to the 100 mark tomorrow, so that is what they can really expect. And if at all any runs they get after that, I would consider that a bonus. Well, if they could do that, that would be great. Or probably if New Zealand are going to succumb quite early tomorrow, and we are definitely going to see New Zealand bat, the following is definitely going to be enforced. And well, probably I think New Zealand are in for a real pounding in this particular test match, because a 47 for 6 is the score right now for New Zealand at stumps on day 2 of the second and final test match at Port Elizabeth. Look at the bowling figures. Dale Steyn bowled with lots of fire, 8 overs, 2 maidens, 14 runs and 2 wickets. Morne Morkel was very good. He was actually having a lot of balls that hit the. I thought it hit Kane Williamson on the ribs. Morne Morkel, 8 overs, 4 maidens, 12 runs, no wicket. Didn't get a wicket, but he was very economical. Cleanwell, well, he got the ball to really lift off from a good length spot. 6 overs, 1 maiden, 18 runs and 2 wickets. Robin Peterson, his spin yielding 2 overs, 1 maiden, 2 runs and 2 wickets of 2 successive deliveries, and that is what really reduced New Zealand to a score of 47 for 6. As I said, it's a very stiff task for New Zealand. All they could hope for is first go to the 100 mark tomorrow and then pick up some bonus runs so that they can reduce the lead. But it's a fact that New Zealand are going to bat in the second innings. They're going to follow on, and I'm sure South Africa are going to go to the jugular, and probably they would like to even finish the match as quickly as possible. There are 3 more days left in the game, but I'm sure Graham Smith, being a very, very attacking captain from South Africa, would like to finish off things as quickly as possible. But it will also be good to see how the New Zealand batsmen shape up in the second innings, showing lots of iron will and determination if they could do that. Well, now just the other thing that is happening today, we are getting the second one-day match between Australia and Sri Lanka, which is starting today. Now, as you know, Sri Lanka, the Australian B team, I would say, literally a B team, actually beat Sri Lanka by a huge margin, with Phil Hughes making a century, George Bailey contributing a lot of runs, even his captaincy was very good. And today, the pressure is definitely on Sri Lanka to go and try to level the series. As far as this is going to be played at the Adelaide Oval, the forecast over here, it's going to be a bit overcast, I'm told. So definitely, probably what could happen is, if it is going to be overcast, it could quite be possible that whichever team wins the toss would put the opposition in to take advantage of the overcast conditions. And I'm also told, being a dry pitch, it could offer some turn later on in the game. So it's going to be very, very interesting, but I think the pressure is definitely on Sri Lanka. They really need to put a very good batting display. Upul Taranga needs to play well. Mahendra Jayawardene had to lead by example with his bat. I know that Sri Lanka is crippled. They don't have Dinesh Chandimal in the ranks today. Kushal Perera, the wicketkeeper, would be making his debut. So that is also a big blow for them. But the all-rounders have to really come to the party. Angelo Matthews, Jeevan Mendes and Thisara Pereira. Nuwan Kulshreka, Lasith Malinga and Ajantha Mendes will be manning the bowling department. But probably Lasith Malinga has to really get his best, if at all Sri Lanka has to really go for a win in this particular second one-day international and actually level the series with Australia. As far as Australia are concerned, well, they are absolutely confidence personified, because as you know, being such a young team, they got the first win under their belt, so that definitely boosts the morale of the team, and I'm sure they would definitely put up a much better show. And Aaron Finch, who actually lost an opportunity in the previous test match, previous one-day international, would like to get it right and probably get some very good runs under his belt to show to the selectors that that was just a blip and he can really go further. So they have a good competition. Phil Hughes, Aaron Finch, Usman Khwaja will be waiting to get an opportunity. The other day he was run out, so he would like to get a long bat at the crease today. David Hussey, Glenn Maxwell like to have a good hit. Basically, whether Ben Cutting, I'm told that probably Australia might experiment today by getting in Ben Cutting into the mix. Whether he comes into the mix, that remains to be seen. Probably Australia might be tempted to do that because they know that Australia are 1-0 now. So probably they might experiment and put Ben Cutting into the picture, because when confidence is there, then you can always you go there and unleash your new bowlers and see what it brings for you. So basically, I think that would be the way to go. Probably Ben Cutting would be in the mix. That's a possible team which could be coming up. Other than that, dear fans, friends and subscribers, let me see whether I can go ahead and see whether I can just give you some cricket news before I leave the scene here. So that is the second one-day international coming up today. And as far as other news are concerned, the news which is coming up is, I'm just trying to see what's the news which is coming up here. We have, I don't have much to really talk about. That's the Big Bash League, Hurricanes versus 8. It was Luke Palmersbash actually breaking the record and taking his team to victory, hitting the fastest 50 of the Big Bash League. In fact, breaking the record which Chris Gayle set of 25 balls. In fact, Luke Palmersbash went one better by getting his 50 of just 24 balls and taking his team to victory there. Well, on this note, dear fans, friends and subscribers, your host Ram is going to return you back to the studios. Thanks for patiently watching this Cricket Happening show on a very regular basis, and thanks for all those dear subscribers and friends who are very consistently subscribing to all my videos. I'm really thankful to you all for giving me such tremendous support. Thanks for your company and thanks for watching this Cricket Happening show. Your host Ram will see you tomorrow. Thank you.